Now we're going to talk about action dice. Here's the play sheet. Each unit, and it's unit by unit, has some dice. You start with 6 dice. You can have some extras or some fewer. So +1 if it's a veteran unit, so 6 becomes 7. If the commander's in the same square as unit, then it goes up to 8 dice. Great. But -1 if it's a poor unit. -1 for each morale failure, because you can get multiple morale failures. -2 if it's only 3 bases or fewer. Another -2 if it's got no leader. For example, a unit might start with 6 dice, but they've got 2 morale failures, so they've lost 2 dice there, down to 4 dice. And the leader's dead, down to 2 dice. Well, they're a little bit paralysed, but there we go. Now, actions are either very easy, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Easy, 3, 4, 5, or 6. Medium, 4, 5, 6. Difficult, 5 and 6. But this set is for the Anglo-Egyptians. There's a different set for the dervishes. They have very easy, medium, difficult, etc., etc. Now here's how the system works. So here's a unit of British. They start with 6 action dice. Every unit starts with 6. There are 6 action dice. Luckily, the major is in their same square, so they claim 1 more dice. Here are the 7 dice. Now, the dice are all rolled together. Let's say first I want to change direction. That's an easy action. I roll every single dice. As long as I get 1, 3, 4, 5, or 6, all is good. Yeah, there's a 3, 4, 5. I take the dice off, and the direction change allows the unit to change any direction they like. Lovely, all done. But I've lost a dice because I've done an action. I'm down to 6 dice. Now, battle line, moving the open, just needs a 4, 5, 6. Well, I've got loads of dice, I can afford the risk. I roll every dice I've got. Oh, there's a 4, 5, 6. I lose the dice. I've got 5 dice left. So I move them like this. You can stay with them. I've got 5 dice left. For some perverse reason, I want to change direction again. 3, 4, 5, or 6 for direction change. I've done it. 3, 4, 5, or 6. Unit now turns face this way. You can only face one of the 4 directions because it's a squared game. Now, the next bit, I think I want to shoot. A shoot action to make the action happen is a 4, 5, 6. I've still got 4 dice. The odds are pretty good. Yes, I've got it. Bang, they shoot. British troops had to shoot twice in a turn. So I'm going to have a second shot. Assume I've done the shot. Second shot, yes, there we go. Bang, they shoot again. Now, 2 dice left. If I ever roll and don't get what I want, I've ruined the whole turn for all the other players. So, if I roll and fail, every other unit just gets 1 dice for this turn. So I can't afford to fail. So the 2 dice, I'll say, right, that unit's going to stop and I'll move to a new unit. If I'd failed, then that unit spoilt it for all the other units who only get 1 remaining dice. It's upsetting, but sometimes it's worth the risk. That's how action dice work. You might be wondering why I'm using a blue area. Well, the reason is for clarity to show the mechanisms. In reality, this is played on a cloth with 6 inches marked maybe by dots in the corner. But for this video and the other videos, it shows it really clearly what's going on. Now, here's a British infantry in column. It always gets 6 dice to start off with. There we go. The major isn't with them, so they keep the 6 dice. You must say what you're doing before you actually try anything. Now, columns move more easily than battle lines, because the last video had a battle line. They just need a 3, 4, 5, or 6. So I declare I'm going to move forward 3, 4, 5, or 6. Yeah, I'm bound to succeed. I take a dice off and the column moves forward a square. The good thing with the square is that you put your men anywhere you like as long as they look nice. Now, here's the special thing about columns. It does not pay any action dice to change direction. Let's say the column wanted to come towards the camera. I roll my 3, 4, 5, or 6 for movement. Yes, I've got it. I don't pay to turn. If I move a column, it automatically gets a free turn. Lovely. 4 dice left. Now, just for the sake of amusement, I'll form battle line 3, 4, 5, or 6. These are easy actions, change of formation, column, that sort of thing. I roll. Cool, that was nearly a failure, but I've got a pass. I now form them into battle line. Battle line must be 2 ranks. There we go. I've got 3 dice left. Well, I'm feeling lucky, so let's say they're going to do a shot. I'm going to shoot. It needs a 4, 5, 6 to be able to shoot. It's not how shooting works, that's being able to shoot. I roll my dice. Oh no. Because I've made a mess of that and failed, I need a 4, 5, 6. I haven't got any 4, 5, 6s. I've ruined the turn for the other units. They just get 1 dice for that unit, 1 dice for that unit, 1 dice, etc, etc. But I thought it was a worthwhile risk, but there we go. The chance of failing was only 1 in 8. But there we go. That's the British column. I'm now going to explain one of the central parts of the rules, the 3 dice rule. When you shoot or fight to cause damage, you always roll 3 dice. Never 2 nor 4. Hats off to Monty Python. It's always 3 dice. You might get lots of goes at 3 dice, but it's just 3 dice. Now the score you need is 4, 5, 6s. I'll demonstrate. That one has got no successes, 0 successes. I could have had, piggy's a 6, I could have had 1 success. I could have had 2 successes. I could have had 3. Now the way that fighting and shooting works is one player rolls 3 dice and the opponent has his own 3 dice. And I use some yellow ones. And it's the difference that matters. I'll demonstrate. There's no rerolls. So one person, let's say shooting, 4, 5, 6s, he gets 2 successes because 2 successes. The target gets 2 successes. He's cancelled it out. That shot has no effect. Let's look at that once again. Second shot, he gets 1 success. The target gets 2. It cancels out. Although the target's got 1 extra, he doesn't hurt the person who's shooting. They don't shoot themselves, but he's cancelled it out. Now, what could happen is the target could get no successes. The shooter gets 1 success. That will cause a half base to be killed. If the shooter had 2 successes and he's got none, then 2 half bases are killed. And obviously 3 successes, or 4, 5, 6s, he's killed 3 half bases. Most of the time it's something along the lines of this sort of thing. The target has got 1 success. The shooter has got 1 success. It's cancelled out. Now this 4, 5, 6 mechanism is central to the whole rules, and the number 3 is important to the whole set of rules because we want to keep things consistent and elegant. Therefore 3 is an important number, even down to number men in the base. So 3 is very, very important. Now let's do a shooting exercise. Here we go. Now this is the concept. I'm going to put my British out here. It's very nice. There they go. Right, so typical British unit. They could be more. I think they go to a maximum of 9 bases and a minimum of about 4. So there they go. There's 6 infantry bases and an officer base. The officer only got his pistol, his Webley, whatever, or his personal pistol. He doesn't get to shoot. Now let's say they get to shoot. We've done actions already. Now this is how it works. First of all, you get a dice per shooty base. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So lay out 6 yellow dice. There we go. That's that. Now, there aren't many adjustments to shooting because the game must remain very simple. Here's the adjustments. If you're a veteran shooter, you pretend you've got 2 more bases in the unit. If the target's in proximity, that's in the squares around you, you pretend your unit's got 2 more bases in it. If you're a poor shooter, you pretend your unit's lost 2 bases. If it's in cover, you lose 2. A dismounted cavalry shooting, lose 2 as well. Now, let's pretend the enemy are close by. So I'm going to just turn these. There we go. I'll put a dervish unit out. They're going to get shot in the face. They won't like that much. There we go. Remember, the dervish units they have no fancy formations. They must form 3, 3, 3, 3, etc. There we go. Where the bases are, nobody cares. There we go. Now, so let's say these wanted to shoot and they've got, say, 4 action dice left. I'm just making that up. Need a 4, 5, 6. Yes, they get their shot. I put the action dice to one side. Now, I've got 6 shooting bases. 2, 4, 6. However, they're at short range or proximity. Therefore, I add 2 on. Because remember from the play sheet here, proximity adds 2 dice on. Now, every 3 apart thereof gives me a shot. So I've got 1 shot, 2 shot, and the odd 2 get rounded up. I've got 3 shots. So I'll do it 3 times and see if the dervish can protect himself. There's no reroll, so first shot, I get my 3 dice, 2 successes, we should have a third arm. The dervishes roll and get 3 successes, 3 versus 2. It's cancelled out. The second of them, the British player rolls 1 success, dervish player rolls 1 success, cancelled out. Oh. Now, the dervish player will keep protecting himself no matter how many dice they roll here. So every set of dice, every 3 dice gets a response. The British third shot gets 2 hits, and the dervish one gets 1. Now, because the British beat him by 1 hit, the dervish loses half a base. I'm going to take this base off the table and put back a dead one and a half one. There's the dead and there's the half. Now, the British have got 3 dice left. They're going to 3 dice of their action dice, the things that they're doing, the verb dice. They're going to try and shoot a second time. Yes, they get a second shot. They're only allowed 2 shots. Now, once again, no one's dead, so it's 6 bases. Add 2, because I'm at short range, so we call it 8 bases. 3, 6, 8. But I always round up. I'm actually worth 9 dice. There we go. So I put the action dice to one side. I shoot 3 times. First shot gets 3. The dervish response to that with 3 dice is cancels out none of them. Now, here's another special rule here. If you're shooting so much, you're getting this much damage, anytime you achieve 3, no matter what the response is, if you achieve 3, you apply jammed to the unit. Not to any particular man, but the firepower is going to be reduced. There's a jam marker. However, those 3 and the nothing means only 3 deads for the dervish unit. I'll put the deads to one side and I'll explain why in a minute. I do not put them with the unit, I just put them to one side. There we go. Now, the second, because remember there's 3 shots. Second shot, I roll 1 success. The dervish protection or response is 1, nothing. The third British shot, 2 successes. And the dervishes stop 2. Now, overall, the British have achieved 3 casualties. Now, each casualty is half a base. I'm going to take that half base off. I'm going to take that base off. I'm going to put the deads down. That's very bad news for the dervishes. There. The British have had their 2 shots. They've still got 2 action dice left. If they leave the pinned marker, every time they shoot, one of the bases won't count. If there's 2 pinned markers, then 2 bases don't count. 3 pin markers and 3 bases don't count. The 1 I could probably live with, but we'll see how it goes. But what I could do, it's an easy action to sort the ammunition and the rifles out. A 3, 4, 5 or 6. I think I'll risk it. A 3, 4, 5, 6 is an easy action. I've achieved it. I can take a pin off. But each action just takes 1 pin off. Now 1 dice left. I was stupid to do anything because it spoiled the turn for the other units. Let's look at this dervish unit with morale. Now morale is a number of dice. Now the first thing on route, so there's not much to route, it's a list of numbers. There we go. Right, extra dice if there's any casualties. Extra dice if you port, more dice is bad news. Extra dice if there's 2 units close by. 2 more dice if you're at 3 base or less. Another one of the commands, there are all sorts of troubles like that. So, this dervish unit has got 4 deads. That's worth 4 dice. Their quality's all right. They've got enough men. 4 dice. Every 4, 5, 6 is bad news. Oh, that's a fantastic morale result. The reason 4, 5, 6 are bad news is that in the game, if you keep getting 4, 5, 6s, people might say, oh, you've been lucky all the time. But in this case, low dice is lucky. So you can't have it both ways. You can't say, oh, I kept rolling high. But if you keep rolling high, you shoot people, but your morale will be bad. And conversely, if you keep rolling low. So, their morale, they've lost no points whatsoever. So I now take the deads off and reform the unit in the 3 formation. Now let's have the dervish turn and see how that goes. Now dervish only got 3 rifle base, but they'll give it a go. They start with 6 action dice, as every unit does. Yeah, they're not poor. It's just take them as average. Now remember, you have to declare what you're doing before you do it. I do declare, they're going to shoot on a 4, 5, 6. Success, but I expect that. I lose the dice. I'll put us to one side. Now this dervish unit's got 1, 2, 3 rifle bases. So 1, 2, 3. But everything's about counting the bases. Because they're close, going to pretend there's 2 more bases as a bonus of being close. They've now got 5 dice. Every 3 dice is a shot. There's a shot, and that becomes a shot, because we always round up. Even 1 dice is round. They get 2 shots, the British. And the British will try and defend themselves like that. First shot, they give a 4, 5, 6s. 1 success. British respond. 2 successes, they cancel it out. The second shot from the dervishes. 3 successes. They don't suffer jams. They have a much lower rate of fire. They're not particularly good. So 3 successes. And the British response is 3 saves. Well, that was lucky, so it can be erratic. Dervish units can also only shoot once. So that's their single shot. But they've still got 5 dice left. I think we should have a fight just for the sake of the video. Let's have a fight. To fight, you've got to charge in. Charging in's a difficult action. So here are the dervish actions. I look down. Difficult is to charge. Okay. A medium action would be to shoot. An easy action is just to move around a bit. So it should be fairly commonsensical. Now with these 5 dice, I need 5 or 6 to charge. I think 5 dice I should do it. Yes. Success. Once again, if you failed, you ruin the whole turn. I put it to one side. Now here's how a charge works. You share the same square when you have a fight. The reason being is ground scale, and there's no arguments about what scenery, who's going in. So they declared a charge. They enter the square. These squares are going to get quite tightly packed, but there's just enough space. There we go. Now, the British could fall back against infantry, and there's a fallback mechanism, but I don't think they're going to do it. They're going to stay and fight. Now, what the British get, they get a shot in the face of people when they're being charged. Even if they're coming from the flank, the British can turn and face. From the rear, they can't. Now, let's shoot these chaps in the face. I've got 6 shooty men. 3, 6. I'm claiming 2 more for being at close range. Now, if I was veteran, I'd get another 2, or poor, I'd lose 2. In the 3s, got 1, 2, we round that up. I got 3 shots right in the face of these poor dervishes. So we know it's 3 shots. I use black for the dervish, yellow for the British. First shot, 1 success. Dervish, it's cancelled out. It's got 2 successes, so first shot has no effect whatsoever. Second of the 3 shots, 2 successes. Dervish, only 1 success. Now, we don't put the man with the unit, we just put it close by. It's a dead, and I'll give you a reason in a moment. The third shot, 2 successes. And the dervish one, only one success. So 2 to 1 is one more. So there's the dead. Now, the reason we don't put the deads in as we do them is we get mixed up with how many hits there are, who's dead, etc, etc. So there we go, 2 dead have been scored. I'm going to take a base off. Dervish can choose who he likes. I'll take a rifle base off. It's gone. 2 deads. Now, here's the thing called the falter test. Sometimes British firepower, Egyptian firepower, would cause dervishes not to panic, but to hold back. And it works like this. On the way in, they've shot some men. If you shoot just one, well, you can't stop a unit just on one, but more than one, for every one additional to the first one, if you get a 6, the unit falters. So, there's the initial one, we ignore that. But more than one, there's one more there. If the British get a 6, they did. Now that'll mean the dervish unit actually doesn't get into combat, falls back there. It loses its body because it's reorganised. And it's over. The British have beaten them off. Let's just go back and assume that they didn't get the falter test. So here's dervishes again. They're in their 3-3-3 formation. They keep the dead bodies because dead bodies only go if you win a fight or you do your morale. Let's begin. Now this is the same as shooting. Now, but this time there's a few more variables. And the variables are 3 more if you're better quality, 3 more if you're the charger, 3 if you charge the rear of a unit, 3 if foot fighting cavalry who are in scenery. Cavalry don't like being in scenery. But conversely, cavalry get 3 more fighting foot in the open. You can claim it as 6 more. Let's work the numbers out. Now this time the officers do fight. So the British have got 7 bases. 3. There we are, 7 bases. The dervishes, where some got shot off, half bases count as a full base. They've only got 6. Well, that's a bit grim for them. There we go. Now we're going to look at the adjustments. The dervish was the charger. Well, that helps him a bit. He counts 3 more bases. There we go. There's no quality difference. So now the British have got 7 dice. And the dervish have got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Unfortunately, the dervish, they've not got a lot more. So the British get 1 fight, 2 fight, and even 1 dice is rounded up, 3 fights. The dervish get 1, 2, 3. If they'd have had just 1 more base, they'd have got another fight. But there we go. That's what they got shot up on the way in. Now this time, the 4, 5, 6s affect both players. So the fight's a bit more bloody. Right. Now, by the way, if the dervish had had another set of 3 dice, the British could still resist the 3 dice, but they can't cause any damage. If dervishes had 2 more sets of dice, then 2 of the fight sequences, the British could only defend themselves, not cause damage both ways. Here we go. First fight, remember there's no re-rolls, doesn't matter when you roll. The British have got 2 successes. The dervish first fight has got 1 success. So the British have won, and they're going to put 1 body, not with the unit as previously explained. That's the first of the 3 fights. Second fight, British have got 1 success. The dervish have got 2 successes. Oh gosh, it's evening up. That means there's a dead Brit near the unit, not with the unit, near the unit. That was the second fight. It's quite an even fight. Third one, British have got 1 success. Dervish have got 1 success. Oh gosh, that's 1 each. Remember, they go near the unit, not with the unit. There's a second dead dervish, and there's a second dead British here as well. There he is. No fight results in a draw. The defender or the target always wins as the attacker gets more. That way, you should only attack if you think you're going to win. Let's just apply the casualties. 2 casualties. I'll take a British base off. They go there. 2 casualties, lose dervish base and go there. Now, the British have won because they've not been beaten. The target always wins unless the attacker gets more. So only attack if you think you've got a good chance, or you're desperate, or you just want some fun. This is what happens next. First of all, the person who won, in this case the defending British, or the target British, takes their deads off because the men are quite excited, they're elated. The attacker, or the charger, would suffer extra casualties. Because he got 2 each, there is no extra casualties. If the British had exceeded them by 1 casualty, they get 1 roll to try and get 5 or 6. If they'd exceeded them by 2 casualties, remember exceeded, not score, but exceeded by 2, they get 2 rolls of 5 or 6, etc, etc. This dervish unit falls back to where it was, keeps its bodies, because it will suffer in a minute. And there's the British. They can, of course, juggle around a bit. There we go. Now, after you've done an assault or a charge, that's got to be the last thing you do in a turn. So when a unit charges, it's the last thing it does. Then you have to go to another unit. Let's just remind ourselves about how morale works again. This dervish unit has got 4 bodies. That's 4 dice. It's not poor, there's no other problem, just 4 dice. 4, 5, 6 is bad news. It's got 1 failure. So next turn, instead of 6 action dice, you take 1 off, it only gets 5 action dice. If it had 2 failures, 4, 5, the whole game is 4, 5, 6s, 2 failures, then it would be down to 4 action dice. 3 failures, or even 4 failures, only have 2 dice for the whole turn. And when you do morale, you take the bodies off.